The great crystal dome of Nexus Prime gleamed under 3 different suns. Inside the massive building, 12 different alien species sat in a perfect circle. Each group looked different from the others. Some had blue skin and long necks. Others had thick shells and many arms. A few looked like walking trees with glowing eyes. Kiwoo walked into the center of the circle. His black diplomatic suit looked simple compared to the colorful robes and armor around him. Behind him walked Sujin, a woman with sharp eyes who knew about military things. Next to her was Do-hyun, an older man who had spent years talking with aliens. The 3 humans looked small in the huge room. Above them, holographic displays showed star maps with thousands of bright dots. Each dot was a solar system. The yellow dots belonged to humans. There were 47 of them. Speaker Veltaran stood up from his floating throne. He was tall and thin, with purple skin that seemed to glow. His voice echoed through the dome when he spoke. Ambassador Kiwoo of Earth, Veltaran said. We called you here because your species has become a problem. Kiwoo kept his face calm. He had expected this meeting would not go well. Please explain what you mean, Speaker. Your people expand too fast, said Admiral Kethmaran from the hegemony. He had 4 arms and scales like a lizard. In 200 years, you have taken 47 star systems. This is not normal. We follow all galactic laws, Do-hyun said, quietly. Every system we settled was empty. No other species claimed them. A being that looked like a giant spider clicked its mandibles. Empty does not mean free to take. You humans do not understand how things work here. Sujin stepped forward. With respect, Council members, humanity has never broken any treaty. We pay all required taxes. We trade fairly with all species. What exactly is our crime? The crystal, beings of the collective, made sounds like wind chimes. Their leader spoke through a translator device. Your crime is existing too boldly. You build cities on worlds we consider unsuitable. You terraform planets that should remain barren. You make noise in the quiet corners of space. Kiwoo understood now. This was not about laws or treaties. This was about fear. The old species had run the galaxy for thousands of years. They moved slowly, carefully, following ancient rules. Humanity did things differently. What do you want from us? Kiwoo asked. Veltaran waved his hand. The star map changed. Now only 20 systems glowed yellow. You will abandon 27 of your colonies. You will return to these 20 systems and stay there. You will not expand beyond these borders for the next 500 years. The room became very quiet. Kiwoo looked at the map. 27 systems meant billions of humans. People who had been born on those worlds. Children who had never seen Earth. Farmers, engineers, artists, teachers, all told to leave their homes. And if we refuse? Sujin asked. Her voice was steady, but Kiwoo could see her hands were tight fists. Then we will make you leave, Admiral Kethmaran said. We have fleets. We have weapons. We have done this before to species who would not listen. You would attack civilian colonies? Do-hyun asked. We would remove a threat to galactic stability. The spider being clicked. Do not think your little ships can fight all of us. Kiwoo walked closer to the star map. He studied the 27 systems they wanted him to abandon. New Sol was there, where his sister lived with her children. Frontier's Edge was there too, where brave people had built farms on a harsh world. Paradise Harbor, where artists had created the most beautiful city in human space. These are not just colonies to us, Kiwoo said. These are homes. These are where our people live and work and dream. Dreams change, Veltaran said coldly. Accept reality. You are young and small. We are old and strong. This is how the galaxy works. A floating jellyfish creature pulsed with colored lights. Its translator spoke in a musical voice. We do not wish to hurt anyone, but order must be maintained. Your species grows too fast. You take risks we would never take. You encourage change we do not want. Kiwoo realized something important. The Council was not just afraid of human expansion. They were afraid of human ideas. Humans did things differently. They took chances. They tried new ways of living. This scared species that had done things the same way for millennia. How long do we have to decide? Kiwu asked.
30 standard days, Velterin said. You will return here and give us your answer. Choose wisely, human. This offer will not come again. And during these 30 days, Sujin asked, will your fleets move toward human space? Our fleets
are always where they need to be, Admiral Kethmoran said with what might have been a smile. Kiwu bowed slightly. It was a human gesture that meant respect, but also defiance. I will take your words to my people. They will decide what path we take. There is only one smart path, the spider being clicked. Accept our wisdom. We shall see, Kiwu said, as the three humans walked out of the crystal dome. Dohyun whispered, they really think we'll just give up 27 worlds. They think we're weak, Sujin said quietly. They think we'll be scared. Kiwu said nothing until they reached their ship. Then he looked back at the gleaming dome, where 12 species made decisions for the galaxy. Maybe, he said, it's time they learned that humans don't scare easily. The ship lifted off toward Earth, carrying news that would change everything. Behind them, the council members talked among themselves, confident that the young species would see reason. They had no idea what humans were capable of when pushed too far. The World Council building in Seoul looked out over a city that touched the clouds. President Jin-ae sat at the head of a long table made from earth oak. Around her, the most important humans in the galaxy waited to hear what the aliens wanted. Kiwu finished telling them about the meeting on Nexus Prime. The room stayed quiet for a long moment. Then everyone started talking at once. 27 systems? Fleet Admiral Taman slammed his hand on the table. That's more than half our colonies. Billions of people. We always knew this day might come, said Sang-ho, who was in charge of all the colonies. Maybe we expanded too fast. Maybe we should have been more careful. Chief Science Officer Hee-won shook her head. We followed every rule they gave us, every law, every regulation. We even paid extra taxes to keep them happy. It doesn't matter, Jin-ae said quietly. They're not really worried about laws. They're worried about us. What do you mean? Asked Do-hyun, who had just returned from the alien meeting. Think about it, Jin-ae continued. For thousands of years, these alien species have controlled the galaxy. They move slowly. They change nothing. Then humans show up, and in just 200 years, we have 47 worlds. We terraform planets they said were impossible to live on. We build cities they said couldn't work. Taman nodded slowly. We make them look bad. Exactly. We prove that their way isn't the only way. That scares them. Sang-ho pulled up a holographic display showing all 47 human systems. If we give up these 27 systems, we lose 60% of our population. Agricultural worlds that feed the other colonies, mining worlds that provide metals for our ships, research stations that develop new technology. We also lose our best defensive positions, Sujin added. She had been quiet since returning from Nexus Prime. The systems they want us to abandon form a barrier between our core worlds and hostile space. Without them, we're vulnerable. Haiwan stood up and walked to the display. There's something else. Something I haven't told most of you. She looked around the room. We've made breakthroughs, big ones. Our science teams have been working on projects the aliens don't know about. What kind of projects? Jin-ae asked. Better, faster than light travel, more efficient fusion reactors, advanced artificial intelligence, terraforming technology that works 10 times faster than what we've been using. Haiwan paused. And other things that would surprise the council. Taman leaned forward. Are you saying we could fight them? I'm saying we have options they don't expect us to have. The room fell quiet again. Everyone understood what that meant. Humans had been careful to appear less advanced than they really were. It was safer that way. President Jin-ae activated her personal communicator. Get me Governor Bo-ram on New Busan and Governor Wu Jin on Frontier's Edge. I want to talk to all the colonial governors. One by one, The screens around the room filled with faces. Men and women who had spent their lives building new worlds. For humanity, they looked tired but determined. "You've all heard what the council demands," Jin'e said. "I want to know what your people think." Boram spoke first. She was young for a governor, but New Busan was thriving under her leadership. "My people came here to build something new. Their parents left Earth for a better life. Now aliens we've never fought want to take that away. They're not happy." "Same here," said Wu Jin from Frontier's Edge. "We turned a dead rock into a garden. Every tree, every blade of grass we planted by hand. You think we're just going to walk away?" More governors spoke up. From Paradise Harbor, where artists had created wonders. From New Osaka, where engineers built ships that could travel between stars. From Terra Nova, where farmers fed half the human colonies. "None of my people want to leave," said Governor Yunho from the mining world of Iron Mountain. "This is home now. This is where their children were born. But what if we fight and lose?" asked Governor Nari from the research station at Kepler's Hope. "What happens to all our people then?" "That's what we need to decide," Jin'e said. "Do we give in to their demands? Do we fight? Or is there another way?" The discussion went on for hours. Admiral Tae Min wanted to prepare for war. Sang Ho thought they should negotiate, maybe give up some systems to keep others. Hai Wan kept hinting that humans had capabilities the aliens didn't know about. Finally, an old governor named Minsu spoke up. He ran a small agricultural world called Haven's Rest. "I've been listening to all of you," he said, "and I keep thinking about my grandfather." "What about him?" Jin'e asked. "He lived in Korea during the wars. Foreign powers kept telling Koreans how to live, where they could go, what they could do. My grandfather used to say that sometimes the only way to win is to refuse to play their game." "What do you mean?" Taemin asked. "I mean, maybe we don't fight them. Maybe we don't give in to them. Maybe we do something they never expect." The room became very quiet. Everyone was thinking about what Minsu had said. Heewon spoke carefully. "If we had the technology to move entire populations quickly, if we could relocate everyone to places the aliens couldn't follow, would that change anything?" "You mean run away?" Sang-ho asked. "I mean choose our own path," Heewon replied. "Make our own rules. Live where we want to live, not where others tell us we can live." Jin'e looked around the room. She saw the faces of people who had spent their lives building humanity's future among the stars. They weren't the type to give up easily. "I want to hear from our military leaders," she said. "Taemin, if we chose to relocate, could we protect our people during the process?" "Depends on what you mean by relocate. Moving billions of people would take years with our current ships." Heewon smiled slightly. "What if it didn't? What if we had technology that could move everyone in a matter of weeks?" "That's impossible," Sang-ho said. "A lot of things were impossible, until humans did them," Jin'e replied. The meeting continued deep into the night. Plans were discussed. Resources were calculated. Risks were weighed. By morning, humanity had made a decision. It wasn't the decision the Galactic Council expected. It was something entirely new. Deep in the asteroid fields beyond Mars, something strange was happening. Captain Minsu watched from the bridge of his ship as thousands of workers moved like ants across the surface of a massive construction project. The thing they were building didn't look like any ship he had ever seen. "Status report," Minsu said to his navigator, Yejin. "Hull sections 40 through 60 are complete," she said, reading from her display. "The gravity generators are online. Life support systems are being installed now." Junho, the chief engineer, looked up from his console. "Sir, I still can't believe we're building this thing. It's the size of a small moon." Minsu nodded. 3 months had passed since the meeting on Earth. 3 months since humanity had made their choice. All across human space, projects like this one were taking shape. The aliens thought humans were getting ready to negotiate. They had no idea what was really happening. "Any word from the other construction sites?" Minsu asked. "Daewon reports that Arc 7 is ahead of schedule," Yejin said. The Soul's Pride finished installing the new FTL drives yesterday. So Young's team completed the biological preservation systems on Arc 12. Minsu walked to the observation window. Outside, he could see other massive structures in various stages of completion. Each one was a marvel of engineering that pushed human technology to its limits. Each one represented hope for billions of people. His communicator buzzed. The face of Changmin appeared on the screen. Changmin was overseeing construction of Arc 5 near Jupiter. "Minsu, we've got a problem," Changmin said. "Alien scouts have been spotted in the outer system. They're asking questions about our increased industrial activity." "What kind of questions?" "Or mining permits, construction licenses. They want to know why we're pulling so much metal from the asteroid belts." Minsu wasn't surprised. "What did you tell them?" "That we're building new habitats for our growing population." "Technically true." "Good. Keep them thinking that." "How much longer do you need?" 2 weeks, maybe 3. The hard part is installing Hayawan's new FTL system without anyone seeing what we're really doing. Minsu understood. The technology Dr. Hayawan and her team had developed was revolutionary. Instead of normal faster-than-light travel that took days or weeks to cross the galaxy, these new drives could move massive objects across impossible distances almost instantly. But they were also completely different from anything aliens had ever seen. "Are the biological systems ready?" Minsu asked. "So Young finished them yesterday. We can preserve and transport every plant, every animal, every microbe from human worlds. Nothing gets left behind." That was important. Humans weren't just abandoning their colonies. They were taking everything with them. Every tree planted by colonists, every pet owned by children, every flower that grew in carefully tended gardens. After Changmin signed off, Minsu continued his inspection. In the lower levels of the Ark, massive storage areas held compressed soil from dozens of worlds. Genetic banks contained samples from every form of life humans had encountered. Libraries held copies of every book, every song, every piece of art humanity had created. "Captain," Yejin called out. "Incoming transmission from Earth, Priority 1. President Jin Ai's face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired but determined. "All Ark commanders," she said. "Phase 2 begins immediately. Start moving the civilian populations. We have less time than we thought." "What happened?" Minsu asked. "Kaiwu returned from Nexus Prime an hour ago. The Council is getting suspicious. They've moved their fleets closer to our borders. Admiral Kethmoran asked too many specific questions about our construction projects." Minsu felt his stomach tighten. "How much time do we have?" "Days. Not weeks. The Council meeting is in 5 days. If we're not ready by then, people are going to get hurt." Across human space, the word went out. Operation Exodus had begun. On New Busan, Governor Bo-Ram stood before a crowd of 10,000 people in the main plaza. Behind her, transport ships waited to take them to their new homes among the stars. "I know this is hard," she said. "This world is your home. But sometimes, to keep what matters most, we have to be willing to leave what matters less." "What about our houses?" someone called out. "Our businesses? We're taking everything that makes this place special," Bo-Ram replied. "The soil your gardens grow in, the trees your children climb, the art in your museums, even the pet cat that sleeps in the spaceport." People began to laugh despite their fears. Bo-Ram continued. "Most importantly, we're taking each other, and we're taking our freedom. No one will ever again tell us where we can live or how we can grow." On Frontier's Edge, Governor Wu Jin supervised the loading of the last agricultural shipments. Farmers who had spent decades turning barren ground into fertile fields watched as their harvests were carefully packed for the journey. "Will we be able to grow food on the Arks?" asked an old farmer named Hyun Woo. "Better than here," Wu Jin promised. "The Arks have perfect climate control. No storms, no droughts, no pests. And when we reach our new destination, we'll have new worlds to plant." "Where are we going?" someone else asked. Wu Jin smiled. "Somewhere the Council will never find us. Somewhere we can build the future we want." Meanwhile, on monitoring stations throughout the galaxy, alien observers noted increased human activity but weren't concerned. Zorthok, the Council's chief intelligence officer, filed routine reports about human industrial expansion and population redistribution. They're probably preparing for the negotiation, he told Speaker Veltaran. Humans like to appear busy when they're worried. Good, Veltaran replied. Fear will make them reasonable. But deep in human space, Day One aboard the research vessel Soul's Pride was coordinating something the aliens couldn't imagine. 47 massive arcs were almost ready. Billions of humans were boarding their new homes. Every animal, every plant, every piece of human civilization was being carefully preserved. Final systems check, Day One announced to his crew. All arcs report ready for departure. FTL drives are charged. Course coordinates are locked in. His communications officer, a young woman named Yun Seo, looked nervous. Sir, where exactly? Are we going? The coordinates don't match any known star systems. Daewon smiled. That's because we're not going to any known star systems. We're going beyond the edge of the galaxy, where no alien species has ever been, where we can build whatever kind of civilization we want. In 2 days, Kaiwu would return to Nexus Prime with humanity's answer to the Council's ultimatum. But by then, the answer wouldn't matter. By then, there would be no humans left for the Council to threaten. The greatest migration in galactic history was about to begin, and no one saw it coming. Admiral Kethmoran floated in his command chair, watching the empty space where human activity had been reported. His forearms worked different controls as he studied the sensor readings. Something felt wrong. Report, he commanded his second officer. No ships detected in this sector, Admiral. But our long-range sensors show massive power signatures coming from coordinates 847.3 by 221.9. Show me. The main screen flickered to life. At first, Kethmoran saw only stars. Then space itself seemed to shimmer, like heat waves rising from hot ground. Slowly, huge shapes began to appear where nothing had been before. What in the void? Kethmoran whispered. The shapes were enormous. Each one was the size of a small moon, but they moved like ships. Their hulls were smooth and dark, covered with lights that pulsed like heartbeats. As more of them appeared, Kethmoran realized he was looking at an entire fleet of impossible vessels. Admiral, his communications officer called out, "We're receiving a transmission from the human ambassador." Kiwu's face appeared on a smaller screen. He was standing on what looked like the bridge of one of the massive ships. Behind him, Kethmoran could see other humans working at control stations that seemed to be made of flowing light. "Admiral Kethmoran," Kiwu said calmly, "thank you for coming to witness our departure." "Departure? What are you talking about, human?" "Exactly what I said. Humanity is leaving." Before Kethmoran could respond, his sensors began screaming with activity. Across human space, 47 star systems were lighting up with energy signatures, unlike anything in galactic records. On the bridge of his flagship, Minsu watched the final preparations. Around him, his crew worked with quiet efficiency. Yejin announced each milestone as it was reached. Arc 1 through 15, report ready for departure. Arc 16 through 30, report ready for departure. Arc 31 through 47, report ready for departure. Minsu opened a communication channel to all human arcs. "This is Fleet Commander Minsu to all vessels. Today we begin a journey that will take us further than any human has ever traveled. We leave behind the space we know for the infinite possibilities that wait beyond the galaxy's edge." He paused, thinking about the billions of people listening to his words. Families who had packed their entire lives into storage containers. Children who were excited about the adventure. Elderly people who remembered when humans first reached the stars. "We do not leave in anger," Minsu continued. "We do not leave in fear. We leave because it is our choice to make. We choose our own path among the stars." On New Busan's arc, Boram stood in the central park where real grass grew under artificial sunlight. Around her, former colonists were setting up their new homes. Children played on swings brought from their old neighborhoods. Their laughter echoed through the vast space. "Attention all residents," Boram announced over the ship's communication system. "Departure begins in 1 hour. Find a comfortable place to sit or lie down. The journey will feel like falling asleep and waking up somewhere wonderful. On Frontier's Edge's arc, Wu Jin made his own announcement to the farmers and engineers who had built their lives on a harsh frontier world. Everything you planted, everything you built, everything you loved about your world is here with you. And where we're going will have room to grow beyond anything we ever imagined. Back in the void, Admiral Kethmaran watched as the impossible happened. 47 human star systems, each with planets full of cities and people, simply went. Dark, not destroyed, not damaged, just empty. Admiral, his tactical officer reported, we're detecting massive energy buildups in all the human arcs. Whatever they're doing, it's about to happen. Kethmaran opened a channel to Nexus Prime. Speaker Veltaran, you need to see this immediately. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council gathered an emergency session. The crystal dome filled with representatives from 12 species, all staring at displays that showed something they couldn't understand. The humans are doing what? Veltaran demanded. They're leaving, Kethmaran's voice crackled through the communicator. Not just their ships. Everything, every person, every building, every blade of grass. 47 entire star systems are now completely empty. The spider being's mandibles clicked frantically. Impossible. You cannot move entire civilizations. Apparently you can if you're human. On the human flagship, Dr. Hai Wan stood in the engine room, watching the most advanced technology ever created by human minds. The FTL drives didn't look like engines. They looked like sculptures made of light and energy, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Drive synchronization at 98%, reported her assistant, Yoon Seo. All ARC ships are locked onto our navigation beacon. Destination. Confirmed? Haiwan asked. Confirmed. Beyond the galactic rim, approximately 50,000 light-years from the nearest alien civilization. Begin final countdown. Across the ARC fleet, Daewon coordinated the departure from his position aboard Soul's Pride. All ships report ready. Biological systems are stable. Passenger areas are secured. On his command screen, he could see status reports from every ARC. Millions of families were safe in their new homes. Every pet, every plant, every piece of human culture was preserved and protected. Fleet Commander Minsu, Daewon reported, all vessels ready for departure. Minsu took a deep breath. Around him, his bridge crew waited for the order that would change everything. Attention all human ships, Minsu announced. This is our moment of choice. Behind us lies a galaxy that fears change, that fears growth, that fears the future. Ahead of us lies the infinite unknown, where we can build whatever we dare to dream. He looked at each member of his crew. Su Jin, who had stood up to alien threats with quiet courage. Jun Ho, who had helped build miracles of engineering. Ye Jin, who would guide them to their new home among distant stars. Execute departure, Minsu ordered. Space itself seemed to hold its breath. Then, one by one, the massive human arcs simply vanished. Not with the bright flashes of normal FTL travel. They faded away like morning mist, leaving nothing behind but empty space and the stunned silence of alien observers. Admiral Kethmoran stared at his sensors, which showed nothing where moments before had been the largest fleet in galactic history. Where did they go? He whispered. His answer came from Kiwu's final transmission, broadcast across the entire galaxy. We go where we choose to go. We build what we choose to build. We live as we choose to live. Thank you for teaching us that sometimes the only way to be free is to walk away. Then that signal too faded to nothing, leaving the galaxy forever changed. 6 months after humanity vanished from the galaxy, Speaker Veltaran stood before the remnants of the Galactic Council. Only 7 species remained. 5 others had left, claiming they had lost faith in the Council's wisdom. Status report, Veltaran said wearily. Council economist Prendar stepped forward. His tentacles trembled as he spoke. The economic situation continues to worsen, Speaker. Trade routes that depended on human waypoints have collapsed. 3 major shipping companies have gone bankrupt. What about the abandoned human systems? That's part of the problem. The Velkari and the hegemony are fighting over mining rights to the former colony worlds. The crystalline collective refuses to get involved. Border conflicts have erupted in 17 sectors. Velteron felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries of life. Regret. Continue your report. The humans were providing 60% of our technological innovations. Without their research, development of new technologies has slowed to almost nothing. Medical advances, engineering breakthroughs, artistic movements, all gone. Admiral Kethmoran added his own grim news. The military situation is equally bad. Without human buffer zones, hostile species from the outer rim are pushing deeper into civilized space. We've had to deploy 3 times as many ships to maintain security. And the abandoned worlds themselves? Velteron asked. Completely empty. Not just of people, of everything. The humans took their entire ecosystem with them. Plants, animals, even the microorganisms in the soil. What they left behind are perfectly terraformed worlds with absolutely nothing living on them. The spider being clicked its mandibles nervously. Perhaps we could recolonize these worlds ourselves? We tried, Kethmoran replied. Our people can't adapt to the terraforming the humans did. The atmosphere is too oxygen-rich for most species. The gravity is adjusted for human physiology. The soil chemistry doesn't support our crops. So we have 47 beautiful, empty worlds that nobody can use, Veltaran summarized. Essentially, yes. In the months that followed, the situation grew worse. The hegemony attacked a Velkari mining station in the former human system of New Sol. The crystalline collective declared neutrality and withdrew all their trade ships from Council space. 2 other species followed their example. The galaxy, that had been stable for thousands of years, began to fracture. But the worst news came from the deep space monitoring stations. Chief Observer Zorthak brought troubling reports to what remained of the Council. Our long-range sensors have detected something disturbing, Zorthak announced. Energy signatures consistent with large-scale construction projects, far beyond the galactic rim. Construction? Veltaran asked. By whom? The signatures match human technology, but they're bigger than anything we saw when humans were in known space. Much bigger. How much bigger? Based on the energy readings, they appear to be building structures the size of entire star systems. The council chamber fell silent. Finally, the floating jellyfish creature pulsed with worried colors. Are you saying the humans are thriving out there? More than thriving. They appear to be expanding at a rate that makes their original growth look slow. And their technology seems to have advanced far beyond what they showed us. Velteron realized the horrible truth. Humanity had never been using their best technology in known space. They had been hiding their true capabilities, appearing weaker than they really were. Only when pushed to the edge had they revealed what they could actually do. Can we contact them? He asked desperately. We've tried. Long-range communications sent toward their last known position received no response. The final blow came a year after humanity's departure. A probe ship returned from the galactic rim with impossible footage. The crew had found evidence of human construction that defied everything aliens thought they knew about engineering. The images showed massive ring-shaped structures orbiting distant stars. Each ring was large enough to encircle an entire solar system. Cities floated in space without any visible means of support. Ships moved between the stars without using any known form of FTL travel. They've built something new out there, the probe's captain reported. Something we've never seen before. And based on the number of structures, they're not just surviving, they're multiplying. In desperation, Veltaran authorized one final attempt to contact humanity. The message was broadcast on all frequencies toward the void beyond the galaxy. To the humans in exile, Veltaran's voice carried across the emptiness between stars. The Galactic Council wishes to reopen diplomatic relations. We acknowledge that our previous demands were hasty. Perhaps we can reach a new understanding that benefits all species. He paused, swallowing his pride. We invite humanity to return to civilized space. Your former colonies await you. Trade agreements can be renegotiated. The galaxy needs your innovations, your energy, your perspective. The message was sent with the most powerful transmitters in Council space. It reached across thousands of light years, carrying an old empire's plea for forgiveness. The response came 3 days later. It was not words. It was not threats. It was not negotiation or demands. It was silence. The same wordless departure that had stunned the galaxy now became wordless rejection. Humanity had heard the Council's plea and chose not to dignify it with a response. On an arc world called New Earth, Kiwu stood in a garden where flowers from 47 different worlds bloomed under an artificial sun. Around him, human children played games that would have amazed the species that once tried to limit their growth. "Sir," his aide Su Jin approached quietly. "The Council's message has been received and analyzed." "And?" Kiwu asked, not looking, away from the children. "Fleet Command wants to know if you'll be responding." Kiwu watched a little girl chase butterflies that had been saved from the gardens of Paradise Harbor. Her laughter echoed off the curved walls of their new world, mixing with the sounds of other children, other games, other dreams being born in the space between galaxies. "No," he said simply. "We have nothing more to say to them." In the ruins of their ancient empire, the remaining Council species continued to fight over scraps while humanity built wonders in the dark between stars. The galaxy learned too late that when you push someone away, they might go further than you ever imagined, and they might never come back. The silence from the void continued, as vast and eternal as the space where humanity had chosen to make their new home. It was the sound of a species that had found something better than acceptance from those who feared them. It was the sound of freedom,